today what I'll do is share with you some of my knowledge on tomatoes, suckers, side shoots, blossom end rot, when to water, planting outside, planting inside, advantageous roots. There's quite a lot of information in this video. Hello and welcome back. And I thought today what I'll do is share with you some of my knowledge on tomatoes. I've been growing and experimenting over the last couple of years. About 4 or 5 years of growing tomatoes. I've done all sorts of different experiments, from stressing them out to 4 side shoots to just one main leader to pinching out the first tomato truss. So what I'm doing is going to share with you some various different topics which we listed and chaptered in the description below. I hope you enjoy. Right, pruning. Now with pruning, I don't prune as hard as other people do. I do prune the first couple of leaves off, but what I'll do then is I'm going to leave that, including quite a lot of these side shoots at the present time. There's a real reason why I need to, especially for this plant, and I'll show you why in a bit. But I leave the leaves on and the side shoots because I want as much energy as I possibly can, so I won't start picking off or cutting off any more of the side shoots until I've got 10 or 12 leaves. That seems to work well, that 10 to 12 leaves, I'm giving enough energy into the roots from these leaves. So with this one, this has got a natural side shoot, so I'm going to leave that side shoot on. But with all the other side shoots, I'm just going to make it up as I go along, because each plant is different. This one's got one flying out here and there. I will need those. So what I will do is, as the side shoot grows a lot bigger, I will then wait until it starts to show some flowers, and then I'll cut off the side shoot. That way I've got, I'm using this one as an example, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 extra leaves giving me enough energy into the plant, and that's how I start to do them. Now that's for indoors. Now outdoors, you've got 2 options. You can maybe to cut off the leaves so there's no splashback when it rains, as it is doing at the moment. But if you're in hot climates, then you also need those leaves to actually protect the roots from drying out. So if this is planted outdoors, then you could possibly need those leaves just to protect those or shade those roots. Now what I tend to do is, here if I've got leaves touching, I would just cut off just up to where they're touching. So I don't like, or tomatoes don't like leaves touching, and that way you're just stopping them starting to form a little bit of a bacterial there. This is not the best example to actually show you, but it's the same variety of these ones. These are Lotus. Now this is a potato variety, and this one had a mega bloom at the top. That's where I've just pinched that out. This one also has a mega bloom. It seems to be typical for that actual variety. Whoop. Don't want to destroy it now, because I may actually need this plant. I'm going to water it. Obviously it's looking really sorry for itself. You can see it's actually got no main stem. That was it. So thankfully I've left on all these side shoots, and that's why another reason I actually keep all the side shoots on, just because you just never know if you're going to damage the plant, or for whatever reason it just stops. I mean, I've never seen that before. So this is how it should look with the main leader carrying on, and it just hasn't happened here. So we'll just tie this one up to go up there, and this one I may just leave on as a side shoot. This one here I'm going to leave on just for the leaves, because I do get big leaves, just to get that extra energy, especially now the plant is slightly damaged, But I've always got this one once I water as a backup. Also here, this is what happens, or what I tend to find happen, is the damage of the leaves. So like I say, I will cut the leaves back so they're not touching. These are just being all jumbled up together, and there's quite a few with the damaged leaves where they've been touching others. So this is the Ethel Watkins. Now this is a good variety for growing indoors and outdoors, and this one we're going to use it for as an example if you're growing them outdoors. Again, I would cut off those bottom ones, but I would certainly leave on the rest of the side shoots and the leaves at the present time. This really is a very vigorous plant. I mean, the side shoots grow very quickly into splitting of the plants. They are very vigorous, but the benefits again is I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 extra leaves, and that's what you need, especially if you're growing it outdoors. You want that real vigorous burst of energy, because it's a shorter season, certainly for the UK. Right, so these are all indeterminate in here. Now I do grow them all on the actual canes, and the reason why I'm doing that is a couple of reasons. One, I can support it and remove it. You know, if we had had a frost over the last couple of days, I could quite easily have taken it if it was a real heavy frost. It's unlikely, but if it was, I could take those out and they are supported. Now what I do is when they get a little bit taller is I tie around the paracord, and now I use paracord rather than using jute string, because what I found with the jute string is because it's natural, that actually attracted disease. I have, I think it was about 2 years ago, where I was using jute string because it looked really nice, wrapped around the vine as it's going up, the stem as it's going up, and the jute string got diseased. So that then transferred over onto the actual plant, and I lost the plants really early on. So what I'd use now is paracord, and if I'm reusing it from last year, then I will put it into Milton baby sterilising fluid and leave it to soak and wash it that way, just to make sure there's nothing left over from the previous year. Right, and then we come on to watering, and it's quite appropriate that it's raining at the moment. So watering, inconsistent watering, that can cause you problems like sort of blossom end rot, and blossom end rot is caused when roots will take up calcium, and they do it via water. As the roots take up the water, they bring up the calcium as well. So if you're doing irregular watering or inconsistent watering, or you try and compensate with too much watering, that means it's washing away too much, and it's actually they can't take up. All they're doing is just taking up a whole load of water rather than the calcium. So what they need is a more regular timetable. Now every plant is completely different, so you can probably get away with 2 to every 3 days during the summer, but if it's really hot, like we've just had the 29, 30 odd degrees, then it's watering every day. And I see quite a lot of people with the drip irrigation, and I do hope to get that in with some tanks up here, coming down here and doing drip irrigation. Now what I do, and I do this with all the plants in here, is I will top off where I've left so much compost. I know this is a chilly, but where I've left so much compost, I will put on this quite a sandy compost mix, and that way the water, if I top that up now, I've already done it for the cucumbers, is because it's such a nice sandy and draining mix, the water goes directly down into the roots wherever I'm watering. So that'll be especially good for when I actually put a drip system in. I won't have dry compost at the top, and that's what I will get if I leave these in here without this. I will have dry compost, a real hard layer. So as you water, especially if you're watering from a watering can, it's just going to hit it, pool out and go down the sides. So you're not getting it straight into all these roots. So this is what I do. I use this, it's compost with John Imes, so it's a little bit more gritty compost. So it's really good for watering, you know, allow me to water directly into the roots. And like I say, that'll be really good. If I put a drip system in there, I know eventually over time the drip system will wet it enough. At least I won't have hard compost on top. Now hard compost, or shall we say hot or too cold soil, can also cause blossom end rot. So they really are finicky plants. And again, because I've got them in black pots, then these will heat up, and that'll be the same outside. So we'll come to potting them up, that's in one of the other chapters. And like I say, all the chapters, all the different points are all chaptered down below in the description. Right, so I completely lost track where I was going with that one then. So let's carry on with the watering. So when's the best time to water? Well, they say watering in the morning. Now, where there's a problem with that is that you have to pick before you water, especially for the likes of cherry tomatoes that really do split as soon as they get water, or they've got excess water and they're just really ripe when the skins are really thin at that point. So it's probably best to follow this routine, is pick them and then watering them if you're watering them with a watering can. Now the best time to actually pick them is probably pick them when they're 30 to 50% either blush or actually got the colour. So if they're green tomatoes and they're slowly starting to turn red, then you pick them then and leave them in the kitchen or wherever else, or even in the greenhouse for a couple more days, just to ripen off on the vine or in the tray, whatever you got. And that way you actually stop them from splitting, because as soon as they become really ripe, I know the lotus will certainly split, cherry Chadwick will split. The skins are really thin at that point, they're really juicy and thin. So as soon as you water them and they're at that point, they're just going to split. So do try and pick them as they're slowly starting to turn. Potting up, right, so we come back to the very beginning, potting up. Now when I pot up my tomatoes, these are going to be my outdoor tomatoes, is I will let the seedling go quite leggy. I don't mind if it goes quite leggy, and then I'll plant it down to around about here, and that way hopefully I'll get some advantageous roots. Now to be truthful, advantageous roots are just that, that's just an advantage. Every tomato would love to, I mean the natural way a tomato would like to grow is just along the ground, and you'll see on some tomatoes when they start to bend, really misshape, you start to see these white dimples, and what they are is mimicking as if it was touching the ground. So I pot this up there so we get a nice root system. So this one was potted right the way down to there, that's where the original roots were, and you can see just here that it's got quite a few advantageous roots. As soon as it's touching the soil, it's growing more roots. So this is going to be quite root bound anyway. But look at that as a root system. Now you can actually see two different colours of roots there. I don't know if you can see, these are a lot thicker and they are the original roots, and then these are more finer ones are the advantageous roots, a lot thinner. Every time you pot on, the original roots will be thicker and they get thinner and thinner as they go along. So hopefully that's actually showing there. So that's what they are, they're just advantageous. You know, you shouldn't worry too much about it. If you are potting on now and you've still got a chance to pot them up to the first true leaf, then great. If you haven't done that, there's no problem. Now what I would say is you got to really split them out, because those original roots here, as you can see, if you split those out and pop them into the tub, then that gives it a really good fighting chance. Any roots of the existing roots will come out down here, and these will slowly go out to wherever. Now if you're planting outside, I would actually plant it to there. I wouldn't even bother about the advantageous roots. The advantageous roots are best done when you put it on originally, because as you can see, they are more finer and they will pick up or pull out the water as it's coming in through the surface. So yeah, I would certainly do that. I do need to put this is my spare, and I'm actually giving this one away, so let's get that back in there. So that's advantageous roots. Right, well I hope you enjoyed that video. It was nice to make it, especially because it's absolutely pouring down outside, and I really need to fix these leaks in the greenhouse. It's on my list of things to do. So my next video will hopefully be on Sunday. Hopefully I can get out a lot more this week and bring you an update. Obviously in here the greenhouse being completely overhauled. I'm going to do it on pinching out and growing more, so it's doubling up your plants, the likes of cosmos, sweet peas, and there's going to be various others and tips and tricks in there as well. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you again.